Thank you for joining us today at Homestead for Life. Today we are talking about planting tomato seeds in red solo cups. So what we did to prep our red solo cups is we drilled holes in the bottom of them, and what we're going to do is put about 2 inches of dirt in there, put the seeds, sprinkle a little bit of dirt on top. Tomatoes, if you've ever planted them before, it's suggested that once you buy them, the small tomato plants from the store, when you plant them, you sort of plant them sideways in the ground and you bury several inches of the stem. So we are going to avoid having to do that by growing them in red solo cups, and as they grow, we're going to keep adding dirt, because tomatoes grow roots from the stems. If there's dirt against the stem, it will grow more dirt out. So this way it builds a sturdier, hardier tomato plant. And we are going to be planting several different varieties of seeds today. Not sure how many will germinate because some of these seeds are fairly old, but we're gonna try them and see how they do. So the first step is to get a little bit of dirt, about 2 inches of dirt. Throw a couple seeds on top. I'm going to put about 2 to 3 seeds in each pot. And then you just sprinkle a little bit of dirt on top. And that's how we're going to prep our seeds. Now that we've got all of our seeds set up in our red solo cups, let's talk about the dirt that we used in them. You can and probably should use a seed starting mix. What I used, because I had it on hand, was potting mix mixed with peat moss. So the peat moss makes it a little bit airier and fluffier, makes it easier for the seeds when they start sprouting, for the roots to actually spread out. You do want to pick out any larger chunks that are in your mix. So for instance, this was in my bag of potting mix. The seeds are not going to have an easy time growing around that. So you want to watch out for that kind of thing. For types of seeds we've got here, we've got purple Cherokee tomatoes, we've got beefsteak tomatoes, large cherry tomatoes, small cherry tomatoes, Rutgers tomatoes. No clue what those are, but they were in my box of miscellaneous seeds, so we're going to try them. And a favorite here, Everglades tomatoes. These grow prolifically, abundantly, ridiculously every year here. It's a Florida native tomato. They're very small. They're about the size of a marble, and they are super sweet. I've got a friend who literally eats them like candy every time they're in season here at our property. So what we're going to do with these now, we are going to put these on little trays so that water doesn't leak everywhere, and we're going to move them into the house because it's almost winter here. I think it's going to be winter next week, maybe for a couple weeks. We usually get cold here until the end of February. It's a little iffy to have your seeds outside. So we're going to get these started. We're going to move them inside, spritz them with water. We don't want to soak them, and let them grow. And once they start sprouting, we're going to put a grow light on them. And then once they get their first leaves, we're going to add more of this potting mix, peat moss mix, up to the first leaves. And then when they grow more, we're going to do it again until there's dirt to the top of the solo cups. And then we're going to move them out to the yard after, probably in March, after we're past our freeze risk, if we even get a freeze this year here in Florida. But we shall see. But check back for updates and see how it's going. We'll show you which ones are growing the best, which ones are the best for at least our climate here in Florida, how we stake them up in the yard, how we plant them, and then we'll do some taste tests later once they start producing. It's been 3 weeks now, and we're going to show you why we planted our tomatoes in red solo cups. So our tomato seedlings have all shot up. They're almost to the top of the cups here. They are a little bit leggy because our lights were too high, so we're going to be extra careful when we're adding our dirt. So what we're going to do with our seed starting mix still is just take it by hand and carefully sprinkle it around the tomato plants. If you look closely at any tomato plant, and we'll try and get you some close-ups here, you're going to see that there's tiny little hairs on the stems of your tomato plants. All those little hairs want to be roots. So the higher you put your dirt, the more roots are going to grow and the more productive your plant's potentially going to be. So we're going to move these up, not quite to the top of the plants, because as they bulk up some more, I'm going to add that last 1.5 to 2 inches of dirt to these cups. But it's as simple as that. You just kind of guide your seedlings so you don't trample them, dropping the dirt on them. Sprinkle the dirt around them. And that's it. We're going to do the same thing in another 2 to 3 weeks. And 2 to 3 weeks after that, we'll put them in the ground. Thank you for watching Homestead for Life. Please like and subscribe to our videos.